I've got good news and bad news for you in this YouTube video. And starting this off, Bitcoin has completely failed to use all of that spectacular ETF capital that you and your grandmother was sitting ready, waiting, prim and proper, hoping would save the market. Obviously, you and I, we weren't fooled by that kind of thing, but the rest of the crypto market definitely was. And if we take a look at what actually took place in this market here, we did top out at about $49,000, which was absolutely spectacular as a bull trap, as we were warning starkly about on this YouTube channel. But since then, we have failed multiple areas of support, and let's take a closer look into that. So we had this little area of support right here at about 47K, failed. We had another area of support right here at about 45K because we used this as support and resistance over these last days, basically since the very beginning of this year, failed. And we had another area of support here at $44,000. This was actually a pretty good area of support, and I definitely wanted to see this level hold, but it failed. And what that does now is, that's a lot of the bad news. There's more, but we'll get to it. But what that does now is it actually starts to shift us back to the good news now, which is that even though Bitcoin has failed 3 support levels consecutively, the only thing Bitcoin has is more support, right? And the reason that's happening is because if we start zooming out onto the 4-hour time frame, onto the 1-day time frame, we've just risen up by so much that, we've actually left a lot of support behind us. If we look at this on the daily EMA, for example, we've literally only just hit our daily EMA ribbon, which is absolutely fantastic. This is a really good use of support. The daily Ichimoku cloud, we're nowhere near hitting right now, and it actually rests if we were to hit it toward the end of this month at about $40,000, so still a good $3,500 away from our current price. So there's a lot to look forward to for Bitcoin right here, but at the moment, what it looks like to me is we did try pushing this thing higher, and we haven't been able to hold that ground. So, if we zoom in to, let's say, the 4-hour time frame, just to take a closer look at this, we could maybe start drawing some parallel channels here and making a bull case for Bitcoin, and I don't think that would be completely unreasonable, but because of this, just the risk of a deviation, because of the fundamental factors at play, you take a look at this right here. This is just such clear deviation territory, ladies and gents. Look at what happened last year. Well, that was 2 years ago now, back in 2022. This is exactly where we got the deviation in 2022. This is exactly where it seems like we're getting a deviation right now in 2024. And these things can't be surprising to us. Bitcoin will repeat similar characteristics, oftentimes at similar price levels as well. And I think that's one of the factors we're seeing at play right now. Now, there's a lot more that goes into this. We're going to be covering gold, the S&P 500, the dollar, and of course Ethereum being one of the stars of the market recently. We're going to get into that because there's a lot of questions about Ethereum. So if you are excited for that, do me a favor and smash up the likes as you are coming into this YouTube video. And I want to give a very special shout out to Bybit for running a spectacular 30K bonus campaign where you get up to $30,000 in free trading capital when you start trading using my link in the description down below. But also below that link, you're going to find a free $500 Solana position link as well. When you follow that link, you're going to get a completely free $500 position on Solana, which is super, super cool. You can go long, you can go short, not my business. I don't care. Fucking take the free money, ladies and gents. It is super, super cool. If that's not your vibe, BingX is an alternative no KYC exchange, and they actually allow you to trade all of these traditional finance markets. They allow you to trade Forex down here. They allow you to trade stocks like Tesla and Apple. I'm going to get to that in a sec. Really, really exciting stuff. But let's zoom in on what's been happening with the Bitcoin chart right here, because one of the things that we're looking at now is potentially re-entering this kind of sideways zone that we had stretching between these two yellow boxes here that sit between 44.3 and 41.7. These are both very nice price ranges for Bitcoin, and we definitely did start trading sideways here for a decent amount of time, when we did enter it for about 1 month. So that makes this a quite psychologically charged area on the market, especially, our recent price action really showing us that this is an important level, which makes this honestly honestly the strongest area of support that Bitcoin has, unfortunately, for quite some time, if we look at this just without any indicators. I mean, if you're just looking at this in terms of raw price action and you're only looking at the recent data over the last year, then there is no more support. It's basically what we have here, and if we fail this, we're going to have to drop down to this next area where we were finding resistance. That's what I'm seeing here, because usually we only find support at areas that were previously serving as resistance or support. That's fairly intuitive. And so the next price level that kind of fits that criteria is going to be down here at about $38,000. And that does leave a fairly nice big drop for Bitcoin. And it would be absolutely spectacular to see Bitcoin retrace by that amount. One of the points I've been making for some time now is that Bitcoin has not produced anything bigger than this 22% drop, and this drop lasted 60 days to the low, or, and this is really nice, 103 days to break the high. Very, fairly midterm size correction here. We haven't seen anything like that in this market for quite some time now. I think our current price action is probably the biggest correction Bitcoin's had since then. Yes, it is. We're down by 12%. So this is the biggest correction we've had since the correction that started here, which was in July. Okay, so 6 months ago. That's the biggest correction we've had since then. In between, it's been smaller. 10% here, another 10% here, about 8% over here. Nothing big, right? Bitcoin hasn't really been getting big rejections, hasn't really been getting significant rejections. And of course, if we just look at the time frame from this low to the current price, I mean, it's just been so long. It just doesn't make sense to not have any real correction in that time. We have had some moderate time-based corrections, this one of course lasting about 30 days, and this whole period here you could definitely argue was a correction. It was just a very aggressive correction at that, but no particularly traditional corrections for Bitcoin. I mean, like a long sideways trading range or a sharp drop, none of that stuff, right? And it makes sense that this might come off this level, especially now that the ETF hype is gone. You can finally start letting go of that narrative and so on, and we can start, coming back to normal price action now. And of course, the reality of this ETF just not fucking working is probably starting to settle in with some people here, which is an idea that you and I have been talking about in every single video. If you've been subscribed, you're going to know very well about this, all the time, that we were not expecting anything crazy, we weren't expecting the rainbows and sunshine that absolutely everybody and their grandmother wanted. Instead, we're maintaining, a real air of realism here, which is that even though we might get some volume here, some people have been arguing that volume is actually relatively disappointing. I'm not going to get into that. It doesn't matter to me. The number one thing that we do understand is that the kind of people that can be entering these markets with ETF money are the kind of people with big money, right? This is big money. That's why everybody's excited. But big money typically is not as stupid as crypto money, right? Which might come as a bit of a surprise to NFT moon boys and so on. Of course, you probably haven't found yourself on this YouTube channel, but to those like you and I, that actually makes a lot of sense, right? Big money, because it's big, usually is smart, and smart money is not like crypto money, right? So they're not going to be aping in or FOMOing in at 47, 48, 49 fucking $1,000. Instead, there's going to be a release of that hype and a pullback, which is exactly what we're getting right now, and hopefully something that takes us much lower, and this is where that smart money starts to buy. It starts to buy on these deviations. Let's say we are only going as low as this price level. Well, maybe we go down this low, sideways a little bit, grab some liquidity. This is where the smart money is entering, right? Maybe we go a little bit lower. Maybe it starts looking like this. Sideways here, spike down. This is where that smart money is entering. Typical, always goes that way. So this is again what I want to focus on. But again, before we go into that, I want to keep these videos balanced because you might not agree with me, and I still want to talk about what might happen for the upside here. Now, for Bitcoin, we are still fairly close to the high of this range, right? I mean, if Bitcoin can reclaim this $44,000 level, we're going to be in a pretty good spot, right? If we can get up to about 45, come back down, find some support, that's going to be a really good position for Bitcoin to, then start looking to rally up a little bit again, because it's going to be able to flip our current area of resistance, turn it into support, and then maybe get on that moon path again. I don't think that's going to happen, but that's kind of what you'd be looking for if you are a bull. That would be kind of step number one, getting above this, and you really want to see that back test here just to show you that this is price action which is going to stick. We have seen price action like this already all the time, so it would actually be quite typical of Bitcoin to do something like this, it's just, again, it's just not really something I'd want to personally hold my breath for. But, here's an example of what that could actually start looking like. Take a look at this right here. Really, really nice visualization of how Bitcoin could actually potentially end up, fulfilling this. And if that did end up happening, the atmosphere is fairly thin up here. It is definitely bull trap territory, but if we get back up there again, that's going to be a really strong sign, because what this means now is we've had, so far in this trend, the biggest correction since July, and then we'd be recovering back up, right? So that's a really strong sign that the bears can try, but they are not going to be successful, and the bulls will remain in control, able to take the market significantly higher. So if you are a bull, that's going to be very, very exciting to see. If you are a bear, however, it really kind of depends on what time frame you're looking at. But if you're a bear, in the short term, I think, like me, basically, I think you're going to be okay. We're still not at support. Really, to be honest, I'm actually more of a bull. It's just that these ideas are quite difficult for crypto people to digest. But, all I'm saying is, in order for this trend to continue, it needs to happen in a more sustainable way. And that would involve typically coming down to tag some of our incredibly reliable areas of support and then rising on higher, right? So this Ichimoku cloud is so incredibly well placed for that to happen right now throughout the course of January, even going into, the first bit of February. If this drop intensifies, and if that intensification, if that's a word, happens quickly, it has phenomenal support right here from the daily Ichimoku cloud. Let's actually take a look at the daily EMA ribbon as well. Yeah, weekly EMA ribbon is in this range as well. Admittedly, not the most reliable, time frame for this indicator, but, fuck it. It's cool to watch. It's interesting. Let's see the 3-day. 3-day also lines up, right? So there's definitely some nice confluence from our very long-term indicators between the Ichimoku and the EMA and just our own horizontal price levels. And so that is something which definitely makes sense to me in this market. And another thing that I actually want to do for you guys is throw on a Fibonacci to start looking at, what the Fibonacci says about some of these potential reversal levels. So let's go ahead and do that on, let's take a different chart. Let's go for, just the index, I guess. This should be a nice, easy one to look at. And I'm just going to throw a Fibonacci on this chart on the 4-hour time frame, basically from when this entire situation began. We're going to use 2 Fibonacci's. This is going to be the first one, and we'll actually stick with this for now and talk about this. So I have 618 level lining up now, assuming that this was our high, lining up now with the $34,000 level, and our 382 level lining up with the $40,000 level. Let's actually move this up to where things really started to heat up, because this first bit of price action was not that crazy. And here we start getting a much more interesting Fibonacci setup. We can actually start dropping some horizontal lines to visualize what this might look like. Here's our golden pocket down here, 61866 Fibonacci levels. And if we started zooming in onto this and looking at what these price levels are actually telling us, well, our 382 level sits squarely at $40,000, which has been an important bounce zone for Bitcoin, and it would definitely be an interesting way to potentially give the bulls a chance to restart this rally. Although if you're bearish, this would potentially just be your kind of reaction rally before tumbling even lower. And that 618 level, this is really interesting. This sits at about $35,000. It's one of the key price levels that we've been watching for a really long time. And if we stretch this all the way back to 2022 and 2021, this has also been a critical bounce zone throughout Bitcoin's history. In fact, critical is the right word. Not only do we end a dump, which lasts 25% and lasts 14 days, not only do we end the dump at this precise level, but we also then begin another pump, which takes the market up by 30%. Again, same thing over here. This dump, you could argue, actually starts from way up above here or even higher, and it ends, it's about a 33% dump, and it ends right here, and it triggers yet another 30% profit to the upside. Again, if we look at the consolidation that Bitcoin produced back in 2021, there is some very clear reversal, support, resistance interactions around this price level. There are some very, very clear interactions around this price level here, this golden pocket. So, I definitely think that this one is going to be useful. And if this dump starts getting worse quickly, that's actually going to be a very, very interesting price level to watch, especially because you might finally start to see these moon boys that have been completely unable to accept what reality actually looks like, which is that rich people don't make poor people rich, which is like somehow mind-blowing for people in this crypto space. But I mean, sure, if you need to hear it, I'll tell you. If you're able to kind of internalize these facts, then you're going to be okay with this. But the majority of the crypto space certainly can't. And so what you're actually going to do, what they're actually going to do is they're going to find themselves in a position where if this market starts to intensify with the dump quickly, and if it happens again quite intensely, then you're going to be really scratching your head. They're going to be really scratching their heads, wondering why, after the Bitcoin ETF, are we not moving up? And obviously, these are just young grasshoppers that haven't quite learned the way yet. But that's going to turn into something really scary, where if the price does actually end up coming back down to this kind of $35,000 level here, it's going to be very, very uncomfortable to stay strong in those long positions, to stay strong in those spot buys. And actually, this is going to be one of the most interesting levels to be picking up some Bitcoin. If we start seeing fear down at those levels, then that's going to tell me that I might be on the right side of history here, at least for the midterm. And I'm going to bring this over to the 4Flies dashboard too, because, we're now seeing, we're now seeing, let me refresh. Okay, I'm not gonna do this live, but you already saw it before the page refreshed. We did have a reading of 71. If we take a look at this on the actual fear and greed index right here, we have a reading of 71. Yesterday's reading was 76, which was extreme fear. We are going to see this update in about 4 hours, so many of you guys watching this video are going to have the up-to-date information on this. But we're still looking at something which definitely is fairly high, but it is also pulling back a little bit. And if the market itself pulls back sharply now, we could end up finding ourselves closer to neutral territory, which would be very, very interesting indeed. So definitely something which I am excited to see, something which I am looking forward to playing around, to be playing around with, and if we do start to see the sentiment indexes start to reset, that is going to be a very, very strong sign for the market, I think. So, another key level that I'm watching, and really there aren't very many around where we are right now. For me, it's just going to be basically, honestly, it is in the 30s. I don't really even see any strong levels in the 40s. They do exist. I just don't think that that's going to be where this dump ends. I feel like now, especially with everything that's happened, I can't think of a better opportunity to scare people out of the market. I find it really difficult these days if I'm just kind of scrolling through Twitter or speaking to anybody. I find it really difficult to see bearish sentiment, and I have tried. I mean, it just feels like it's not there. Like today, the star of the show. I mean, look at this. We've got, wine dinners with, what is that, guac or something. It's just, it's different, right? We're not eating fucking canned tuna right now and ramen. It's a different vibe right now in the market. And at the same time, a lot of the eyes are on Ethereum, which is one of the coins that has performed incredibly well. If we take a look at Ethereum against Bitcoin here, a massive, massive jump up for Ethereum. In fact, in a recent video, I said Ethereum has weathered so many of these storms for so long that it started to make me think maybe Ethereum is able to bump up, and that is exactly what happened. So shout out to those of you that are consistent viewers of this YouTube channel. You're going to know exactly what I was talking about. And Ethereum hasn't actually been this high for about 100 days now, which is very, very interesting. My analysis on Ethereum, let's actually move to this on the dollar first, is that, staying on the Bitcoin chart, it has done really, really well. On the dollar chart, it's done so well, especially against Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin's down by about 6%, Ethereum's down by basically nothing, which is absolutely fantastic. And Ethereum has also found itself in a critical zone on this chart. If we take a look at this on the logarithmic, this was a critical price area for Ethereum going back to 21 and 22 back here, in terms of both resistance and of course support. So very, very, very important price level for Ethereum, and this does seem to be where we are starting to get some problems now. So if there's any point for Ethereum to reverse, it is going to be right around over here. And it's been a pretty good leg for Ethereum as well. If we just kind of measure what this leg has looked like, a lot of people, because this has been slow, aren't really going to be able to take this into account. But this has been a pretty good leg. If we kind of measure what we were working with before, when this leg really started to take off up to our high, It is pretty much the same height, ladies and gents. I mean, it is pretty close to what we were working with before already. So, I think there's definitely something here. By the way, this is on the logarithmic chart, so bit of a misleading view or more of a correct view, depending on your interpretation of how these charts should be viewed. I think logarithmic chart is probably more realistic than anything else in the crypto market, but this is more open to interpretation. The reason I like the logarithmic chart more is because it's based on percentages, not linear progression. And, we would want linear progression if we're looking at, I don't know, Forex, or if we're looking at the dollar. But if we're looking at crypto, which is an asset class that moves very aggressively, we're not interested in linear regression. If we were in linear progression, if we were interested in linear progression, then you'd be watching a Euro GBP, trading video. But you're not. You're watching a Bitcoin video. So you want to make big money. And with big money, percentages are more important. And that's kind of why I think that the logarithmic chart is more important. So again, potential kind of rejection zone for Ethereum. We could maybe stretch this a little bit higher, but bottom line, it's this kind of 25 up to $2,700 range, whatever, it doesn't really matter, which has proven to be important for Ethereum. And I think just because it's been a nice big uptrend for Ethereum, again, without really any huge corrections. This was a 13% correction compared to our previous 28% correction. I mean, this isn't even half of what we had last time. It does start to make a little bit of sense to me that things could be ready to cool off. If it doesn't, I think it's in an even better position than Bitcoin. The next major area of resistance on this chart is probably going to be way up over here. For me, you could definitely say it's a little bit lower. You could say it's a little bit higher. You could just stretch the box to cover both, but no matter how you draw it, I think it is going to be, several $100s higher than here, many hundreds of dollars higher, at least basically, 3,200 is what I'm seeing as the next real area of resistance for Ethereum. And it is in one of those stages now where if Bitcoin is going to just kind of take the backseat for a minute, chill at the 40K range, trade sideways before either continuing up or down, that does give the altcoin market, and specifically Ethereum, which is one of the coins that have lagged behind quite a lot, it does give Ethereum a strong chance to get a very strong rally up. And, by the way, when we have risen up above this yellow box, here's the first time we ever did it. Here's the second time we ever did it. Here's the third time we bounced off this level, the fourth and the fifth. Oh, and actually, this was the fifth and this was the sixth. And every single time Ethereum went above this box, actually with this, kind of group of exceptions over here, every single time Ethereum went up very quickly. In fact, the time it took to bridge the gap between these two boxes, over here it was a week. Over here it was obviously a little bit longer. It was a month, but to get most of the way there only took 10 days. On this occasion here, to get to its high took just over a week. On this occasion here, again, just a couple of days. And over here, just about 2.5 weeks, right? Ethereum moves really quickly in this next price range. So if it is going to basically sweep its high and get anywhere above $2,700, then I am probably going to expect some much stronger upside potential for Ethereum in the near term. And that's going to be where a lot of money can potentially be made. So again, phenomenal opportunities to be deploying the free capital that these exchanges are giving you, because they are literally going to be filling up your accounts with free trading capital, and you can deploy that capital however you like. You're going to get that when you start trading using the platforms I've linked down below. And of course, as usual, if you've ever had a problem with any exchange I've ever spoken about, and if you've been referred by me, contact me and I will sort your problems out personally. I have great connects at these platforms. I want you to get the same level of VIP customer support that these exchanges would give me. And that's why any of you guys that have ever had an issue, and admittedly there haven't been very many, but those of you that have, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. You're not going to bother me. I have a team that helps me with this stuff. I want you to come to me with your problems, and I will take them to the exchange and guarantee that you get better treatment than you would otherwise get. That is my promise to you. Please take advantage of it, in addition to the other beautiful bonuses available. And like I said, BingX offering you a spectacular no KYC alternative exchange to Bybit, with over $100,000 in bonuses. And of course, that crucial access to traditional finance markets. Let's go ahead and take a look at the S&P 500 right now, which on this Friday trading session, which is about to close, is still sitting pretty nicely up very, very close to its all-time high that it set back at the the very beginning of 2022. That is a whole 2 years ago now. The S&P 500 sitting right up here again, basically, more of consolidation mode, to be honest, still looking stronger today than it did 2 years ago when we set the all-time high. So still definitely looking like it's in a strong position. And if this thing does not come down for a correction, even a small correction, like I said, this is the correction I want to see. I don't know if I'm actually going to get it. If it does not come down for that correction, then I think that's going to be it, lift off for crypto. If it does, that's going to put the S&P 500 in a really, really healthy position to then come back up for a very nice attack and to stay above the 5,000 level if and when we do get above it. The dollar, on the other hand, just consolidating, chilling, waiting for something political to happen, probably. Not super sure. Doesn't really matter. And gold, obviously something which I'm still massively bullish on. Honestly, the thing I'm bullish on the most in the world right now is gold. It's not even Bitcoin. It's not Ethereum. It's not anything. It's just gold. And the reason it is gold for me is because gold has been suppressed for so long. Gold's price action has been just knocking at that ceiling for years. My God, since 2020, ladies and gents. Absolute market manipulation. I don't know what else you can call it, really, but fuck it, doesn't matter. We don't care about these kind of labels. Just really, really interesting price action, and it's gold. It obviously, look, nothing is guaranteed, right? But for me, it obviously has to go up. And it's just been kind of stuck here at the ceiling. I don't know if we're going to get another chance down at, the $1,900 level, the $1,800, the $1,700 levels. I don't know. If it happens, great. If it doesn't, great. But for me, gold still remains in the strongest position of all assets I'm considering. And it is also tradable on BingX with the link down below with your over $100,000 in bonuses. Definitely take advantage of that if you're interested. But me personally, for something like gold, I will trade it. I will trade it with leverage. I don't really have a problem with that. But I'm more interested in actually buying physical gold. So, that's just my take. I think that gold is one of those things where if you're going to do it properly. I got no problem with speculating. I'll still speculate on BingX. I'll still trade it on BingX, but I want to buy the real thing too. I want to add it to my longer term investment portfolio. And I'll probably just sell that on a 50% or 100% profit, something like that, which, look, I've been saying it's going to happen since 2020. I'm fucking 3.5 years wrong on that. But, look, just, being wrong for a long time, even though the price is kind of hanging around at the same level, it's not even really that wrong. It's just the market's wrong. Put it that way. It's not me. It's not you. It's the market. Don't worry about it, bro. I got you. But no, in all seriousness, it's a bit of a meme if you didn't catch on, but in all seriousness, look, you're watching my channel, you're probably in the demographic that understands what gold is and that understands how important gold is for the world. It's got the 4th stamp of approval too. And I'm a Gen Z boy. So I think that's saying something very, very real. Look at Bitcoin's dominance, by the way, taking a little bit of a dip, mostly because of Ethereum, most likely, because these altcoins have dropped down by quite a bit. Very, very interesting dynamics playing out in this market right now. And if we do bring it back to Ethereum just for a second here, to look at the Ethereum Bitcoin chart, let me just make sure I've not missed any of my notes here. The next key level for Ethereum is going to be, if we're able to breach this area of resistance, the next key level for Ethereum is going to be much, much higher than this, up towards 0.072 BTC per token. If we are able to breach this next area of resistance here. So that would be very, very interesting for Ethereum. Look, I'm not, I don't really believe in this bounce as much as other people might. First of all, there is this really fucking massive elephant in the room, which could turn out to be a real problem for Ethereum, maybe even wicking above it, but then coming back down. There's just this general area, which, if we trace it back, has been a really important level for Ethereum over the years, going back all the way to 2016, 2017. Really, really important price level. My God, that's like a 7-8 year long price level now. So, not price level, I'm sorry, but a diagonal line. So definitely something that I think is important, but also, we kind of pulled this off before, and I don't know if I'd see the same thing happening again now. To me, if we just kind of read the body language of this chart, and bearing in mind we're on the weekly time frame, the last time Ethereum came down into this range, it only hung about here for like 4 or 5 weeks, and then it came back up. This time, Ethereum hung about here for like 11 weeks, 12 weeks, and then it finally decided to get the fuck back up. So to me, it's clearly, in a sense, it's almost too little and it's far too late. And to me, it just makes more sense that, okay, the first time we got lucky, we recovered. The next time, I don't think we can expect that kind of luck, and I have to expect that actually it's going to turn into something a little bit like this, if not at the very minimum something like this, and then maybe we have a chance again, maybe not, I don't know. But I don't have faith in this. I am more of a bear. That's just the God's honest truth about this. I've ridden this thing from the bottom. I went long at $21,000. I've been taking profit all the way up. And I've been selling at the top here. It might not be the top. Obviously, I can't see the future, but I'm following principles. It's the only thing you have as a trader. If you don't have principles, you have nothing. And that, this is where these principles have taken me. So that's where I'm seeing things at. That's how I feel about the market. I do want you guys to let me know what you think in the comment section down below as well. I do appreciate you tuning into this video, and if you have enjoyed it, you know exactly what to do. Show that like button some love, double check that you're subscribed. A lot of you are not, even though you watch these videos. And most importantly, make sure that you've checked the bell icon, because when you click on that bell icon, you're actually going to get notified when I put out this content, and that is very, very time sensitive stuff. By the way, if you've got the bell icon checked, but you've turned off YouTube notifications in your settings, then you're still not going to get notified. That's okay. If you don't want the notifications on YouTube, I totally get it. Check out the Telegram channel. It's linked down here. It's completely free. You'll get more analysis from me pinged to your phone around the clock. I don't post my YouTube links in there anymore. If you want me to, let me know. I haven't really wanted to for a while, but you get more free analysis. I talk about coins and trade setups I'm interested in and stuff like that, which is super cool. And of course, over 190K in bonuses with the links in the description down below. No harm in getting them. These exchanges are spending big money to acquire your business. So please take advantage of their offers. They are so good for you, and they help the channel out as well. So if that's something you care about, then thank you very much, and it will definitely go a long way for us here. So BingX, brilliant, no KYC alternative. Bybit, top in the game as far as I'm concerned, with a spectacular free $500 position on Solana up for grabs as well. I really hope you've enjoyed this one. You know what to do, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.